Rundown 3. The rundown that some people consider the easiest of them all. Even more so than Rundown 1 itself. Now, whether or not that's accurate is up to debate, but in all honesty, I don't really have that much of an opinion on the matter. Easy, average, difficult, absolutely brutal, or even borderline impossible, it doesn't change the fact that if the level exists, a guide on it should be made. And today, we're going to be covering the first level of Alternate Rundown 3 and going over everything that you need to know in order to have a much simpler time completing it with whoever the unfortunate saps are that you drag down along with you into this pit of death. Hello everyone, fresh out of bed, Professor Scalar here, and welcome to the Alternate R3A1 level guide. Just like always, we're going to be starting off with the recommended loadout, and since this is the first level of a rundown, it's not going to be that difficult, so we honestly could take just about whatever loadout we feel like. So I'm going to recommend the good old reliable one, which I love so much, and that would be a biotracker, a mine deployer, a C-foam launcher, and then any sentry of your choice. I love this loadout as it covers all of my bases. We have information gathering capabilities with the biotracker that if we run a sentry with biotracker symbiosis, biotracker tags are going to make that sentry even more effective, which is a nice added bonus. The mine deployer and the C-foam launcher are great for dealing with the alarm doors in this level. When we're about to do one, just simply shut, mine, and C-foam the door or doors that enemies could potentially take to get into the room, and it'll make things so much easier for you, as enemies are going to take a lot longer to break down that door since it's reinforced with C-foam, and once they finally do break it down, that mine's going to explode, which is going to cause most, if not every single one of them to go kaput, and that's a whole lot fewer enemies that we actually have to deal with ourselves with our guns or with our melee, which means less resources we have to spend. And last but not least, when it comes to that sentry, it's not really going to put in a whole lot of work into this level, but hey, you might as well bring one with you, it's good nonetheless. If you're dealing with an alarm door, you could place it down, that way once enemies do make it into the room, you have some extra firepower with the use of the sentry. That, or if you wake up a room with a lot of enemies in it, and there isn't a door nearby that you could shut to my C-foam, you can just fall back to a favorable position, place down the sentry, and you got extra firepower, so things will be easier for you and the team. Dropping down into level, you'll see that your main objective is to bring the Neonate with you to the resuscitator machine, which will always be located inside zone 255. And you and your team are going to be starting off inside zone 250, and in here the only thing noteworthy is the Neonate that will be with you in the cargo drop. So make sure somebody picks it up and brings it along with them, that way you don't get to the end of the level and then have to backtrack all the way to the beginning since somebody didn't bring the baby with them. But other than that, not really anything too noteworthy inside zone 250. There will be some enemies as well as some resources, so just make your way through. And at the back end of it, you'll find the security door to zone 251. This security door just has a full team scan tied to it, so group up, deal with the scan, then just open up the door and head right on in. And immediately upon entering into zone 251, you'll be able to see a security door a little bit off in the distance, and this security door will take you to zone 254. However, upon closer inspection, you'll see that the security door requires a color keycard in order to open up, and this keycard will always be located either in zone 252 or zone 253. So drop the Neonate off by that security door as you'll be coming back here later, and then head to the north, and up there you'll find a big room that will have a fair amount of enemies in it, as well as more resources, and in this room you'll find the two security doors to zone 252 and zone 253. The thing is though, you don't quite know which one of the two has your color keycard in it, so hop onto a nearby terminal, query the keycard, and that'll let you know which one of the two it is, and once you know that information, you can start setting up your defenses, as both of these security doors will have a class 2 alarm tied to them. So as you can see with the map overlay, there's only one possible spawn location for enemies, and there's only one door that you can utilize, which is more than enough honestly, so make sure this door right here is shut, mined, and C-foamed, and then if you want to, you can place your sentry down in the room with you facing towards that door, and that will give you all the defenses you could possibly hope for. So once everything is set up, go over to whichever one of the two doors is that you have to head into, activate the alarm, get to work on the scans, and you should be able to finish every single one of them before the enemies even break down that reinforced door. Once everything is dead, pack up the sentry, and then you can head into whichever one of the two zones you're going into. When it comes to zone 252 and zone 253, they are incredibly similar to each other. They will have a pretty fair amount of enemies in them, both small boys and big boys, as well as a single scout patrolling about. So if you're newer to the game, be very cautious, as waking up these zones can put you in a pretty rough spot, especially if you're heading into zone 252, as that entire zone is just one real big room. So if you wake up a single enemy and it screams, the entire zone is going to wake up, and that's a lot to deal with all at once. So make your way through, stealthily deal with the enemies, or sneak past them if you don't have to kill them, and just look around for the resources and that keycard. Once you get the key card, you could just simply leave and go back to the security door to zone 254, plug that key card in, and that will allow you to do the full team scan that's tied to the door. And once you finish that scan, you can open it up and head right on inside. In here, there are going to be more enemies. As far as I'm aware, it can only be smaller strikers and shooters, so you don't have to worry about a scout or more giants. And when you make your way to the far western side of the zone, you'll find the security door to zone 255. And inside that zone is where your resuscitator machine is. The thing is though, the security door does have a class 4 alarm tied to it, so let's take a look at one last map overlay, that way we know how to properly set up our defenses. As you can see with the map, there's only one possible spawn location for enemies, and there are quite a few doors that we can utilize. So I recommend that you make sure both of these doors are shut, mined, and seafoamed, as this will buy you a whole lot of time to work on the scans. And then this door over here, you do not need to mine it or seafoam it, but you do need to make sure that it's left shut, as if it is left open, there's a good chance that enemies are going to funnel in through that way, which is going to make that other seafoam mine door completely obsolete. As for your sentry, once again, just place in the room with you facing towards that eastern door you shut my seafoamed, and you should be good. Once all your defenses are set up, everybody group up by the door, activate the alarm, get to work on the scans, and then once they're done, just deal with any of the enemies are still left alive after that mine goes off and they get through the sentry. And once everything is dead, go over, grab your sentry, and then head into zone 255. In there will never be any sleeping enemies, but there will be some more resources for you to collect and resupply with, and there will also be a total of 6 different resuscitator machines. The one you need though is the only one that's actually active at the moment, which you can easily tell which one it is, as there will be green lights at the top of it. So once your team is fully ready to go, walk over to the machine, put the neonate into it, a little animation is going to play out, and by the end of the animation, it's going to give you the neonate back, and with that, your main objective is completed. The only thing left to do is pick up the neonate and bring it all the way back to the beginning of the level with you, where your extraction scan will be waiting. The thing is though, once animation finishes playing, an extraction alarm is going to initiate, which will spawn in a few regular strikers and shooters every so often, as well as 2 hybrids right off the get-go. Which those hybrids can be a bit annoying as they have a lot of HP and they can do a lot of damage pretty quickly, but overall, it's not all that difficult to deal with. One person just simply picks up the neonate, and the other 3 people are their bodyguard. You just slowly make your way back towards the beginning of the level, blasting your way through any of the enemies that get in front of you. Once you make it there, just walk into the extraction scan, person with the neonate can place it down on the floor, and then as long as one of you is standing in that scan, it will gain progress, and you just have to hold out there for a bit. And once that scan gets all the way up to 100%, you are done and you have completed alternate R3A1. And that's all there is to it. Alternate R3A1 is the first step in doing whatever it is that the warden wants us to do with that neonate. All of alternate R1 and R2 has led up to this moment, but there's still more to do before the final curtain call. We may have the neonate in our possession, but it's not quite ready to be used yet. So grab your squad and figure out your loadouts, as we've got more to accomplish before we reach the finale of Alternate Rundown 3. As always though, thank you for watching this video all the way to the very end. I do hope that I was able to provide you with some assistance in beating this level. If you have any tips or tricks to this level that you want to share, any questions from me, or you just have something in general that you want to say, please do let me know down in the comments. Hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more from me, and if you want to join my lovely community, there's a link to my Discord down in the description, as well as some other links you might be interested in. Among those links being one that will take you to the official GTFO merch store, which as always, I highly recommend you check out if you're a fellow GTFO enthusiast. Until next time, grab your infection resistance boosters, as we're about to see a plethora of stinky fog, and hopefully, I'll see you all in the next video.